Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and a new foldable is here, the Honor Magic VS, and this design looks pretty interesting. It has a 6.45 inch outer display and opens up to a 7.9 inch display on the inside. Not only that, it looks to be really thin and light, a gapless design when it's closed, so I'm excited to see that in person if that's really the case. In pictures, it looks pretty crazy how you almost get just a standard candy bar style out of this device. Let's get into it, take a quick look what comes in the box of the Magic VS, and of course get some hands-on with this folding phone. Let's get started. Here is our Honor Magic VS. It says Go Beyond up at the top. Now, here it is. Leave us in suspense for now. I'm actually really excited to see it, but let's see what else comes inside the box. Of course, SIM ejection tool, plus I'm feeling maybe a case. Here's a look at the back piece for the case on the phone. I'll put this on the phone later on, continuing through. There is a charger included in the box. Honor Supercharge using USB Type-A at 66 watts. Finally, our charging cable, USB Type-A to USB Type-C with those matching orange accents that our power brick has. All right, on to what you came to see. There is the front of that screen, flipping it over. Very reflective, but here it is, closing it for the first time. Look at how seamless that is. That's kind of crazy. There is essentially no gap right there between the displays, which makes it feel very thin. Let's go ahead and power this on, and the power button should be, the power button's on the right side. And while it boots up, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this hardware of Honor's new foldable. Down at the bottom, SIM card slot, one of our speakers, USB Type-C port, and a microphone. Just look at that sort of gapless hinge. That's just kind of crazy. Moving along, on the right side, we have a power button and volume rockers. So left side is volume rockers, right side is the power button. A fairly large camera bump, actually. Up towards the top, another microphone, an IR blaster. Love to see that. And our final speaker. I also want to point out just the hinge here. Nothing there, but let's go ahead and show off the way it closes from this side at least. There you go. So it snaps shut. And one more look, close look at our hinge. There we go. On the back says Honor, and moving along, there's our camera system. A 54 megapixel main camera with a Sony IMX800 sensor, a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, which also acts as a macro lens, and then an 8 megapixel 3x optical zoom lens. Anyways, I'm gonna run through the startup process, talk about anything that is noteworthy. You can set up face unlock or a fingerprint scanner. Let's set that up. The power button acts as our scanner, and generally at this point with any sort of physical, as opposed to an in-display fingerprint scanner, it works really well. So that's expected. Continuing on. There we go. Taking a little bit longer than expected, but that's okay. As long as it works how it should. Doesn't matter to me. Also, the vibration motor is solid, actually. I'm pretty impressed with it after typing and setting this up with some vibration feedback. Some important information about the inner display, etc., just to keep it safe. We are all set up and ready to go, and there is also a screen protector pre-installed on that front display. Definitely recommend keeping it on. I took it off for the dramatic effect. All right, let's open this up. And there we have it, a look. There is a bit of a crease, yes. So you can notice it when the light hits it the right way. If I'm looking straight on, again, unless the light's hitting it, you can't really notice it. But yes, it is noticeable, and yes, you can feel it. I'd also like to point out, as I'm trying to fold it closed, I don't think there's any angle you can really hold it without it forcing itself open. Okay. There we go. Oh, nope, there it goes. So there's really no hinge mechanism to use it where the screen's sort of tilted forward for some reason. I'm trying, but it holds there for a bit, but if you move it at all, so I guess maybe if it was on a desk, you could try and just hold it still. It would hold still.
I don't think it would actually unfold if you just hold it still, but if you move it at all. So to be fair, realistically, it's pretty much just open or closed. I have to say, big fan of this front display, a 21:9 aspect ratio, which some phones actually have. So it's very comfortable to hold, very natural, 120 hertz, which I can tell is enabled out of the box. This is a 1080p OLED display. Let's go into display. How did I just miss that? And yes, screen refresh rate is dynamic, so it will swap depending on the type of content, up to 120 hertz exterior and 90 hertz on the interior. You can set it to high for 120 and 90, medium up to 90 hertz for both, or standard 60 hertz to both. So you can't actually individually set them depending on the displays, except for the presets. So that's a little interesting, actually. You can't just say 60 hertz on the outer display, 90 hertz on the inner display. That just doesn't seem like it's possible. But when we open it up, yes, this is a 90 hertz display. Would have liked to have seen 120 hertz, but 90 hertz is definitely more noticeably better than 60 hertz. That 7.9-inch OLED display is a 2272 by 1984 inside display with a 10.3 to 9 aspect ratio, so not quite a square, but kind of close in a sense. So you'll see the black bars there, but if you do rotate it, you'll get just less black bars. And there's that front-facing camera, so not an under-display camera. You should be able to zoom in, I guess not. I don't know. I might have to update the YouTube app. Either way, it's not letting me right now, but just pointing out that it's not quite a square. It's a little bit longer on this side, a little bit shorter up towards the top. Let's take a look at the camera app. Intelligently recognizes scenes, professional grade simplified for you, and a location tag. So here's what the app looks like in full screen, so you can see quite a bit, which is great. I'm curious to see if okay, so it makes sense. Honor understood that their hinge didn't necessarily stay in one spot, so it's not going to change their applications like so, but you can turn that on, so cover screen preview is there. There I am. So you can take some good selfies with the main sensor as opposed to that front-facing camera. Highly recommend doing that instead. You can use the 0.5 times ultra-wide angle lens or the 3 times zoom. All the way up to 10x there. Can you zoom in more than 10x? Yes, so 30 times zoom on this phone. On the right side here are our different modes. You've got a portrait mode, a night aperture mode, video, movie, pro mode, love to see that, and more. There's all of the various modes. I do kind of like this camera app, just the quick, I can quickly swap in the bottom right with my thumb if I'm holding this with one hand, snap a quick picture, and then if I want to go to aperture mode, which blurs the background in a certain way, I can do so. So there we go. Very quickly closing the phone. It does keep it unlocked. I'm sure you could probably change that. I'm going to actually lock it with the power button. Just set my thumb down on that scanner. Unlocks it right away. You can press the button if you'd like to get to your lock screen. Set your thumb down. It seems to be very quick and accurate. You don't have to actually press the button, but you can do both at the same time if you'd like to. And then again, just setting our thumb down unlocks it right away. Anyways, jumping into settings, home screen and wallpaper, there is an always on display. A lot of things that you can customize. Scrolling down, foldable phones. So fold the phone, keeps the exterior on or off. Like I said, there's probably a way to change that. There are multi-window settings. Show multi-window dock, so swipe in and pause, which is really nice actually, as opposed to there just being a specific spot, because sometimes you'll accidentally hit it. I like the swipe in and pause. You can enter split screen view with touch and hold, open a floating window as well. Here's some gestures for multi-window settings. I don't think actually works with multi-window, so let's go ahead and use the clock. Clock doesn't support split screen? Get out of here. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, it looks like calculator's opening up in a pop-up display. I'm not exactly sure why, but there's some settings. Swiping down, drag from the corners to adjust its size, so you can go up and down. You should be able to move it. Yes, you can move it as well. If you tap on it, there's a bunch of options. You can snap it over to a split screen, and it brings up a complete list of split screen options. If you want to go to the gallery while you're, doing some calculations, You can do that. I accidentally pressed the bottom of the screen there and get started. There's our photos, swiping up, good to go. But if we do go into recents as shown, you can quick swap back to those two apps. And if you're wondering, yes, there is a pre-installed screen protector as well on the inside display to protect it. Again, highly recommend keeping it there. But again, I really do feel like this is a premium feeling device. It would have been nice if you could kind of angle the screen, but that's not really an option. It's either open or closed. You know, it is what it is, but I also love to see how thin this folding phone is because it really just doesn't have a gap there. Otherwise, a lot more content coming soon on the Honor Magic VS. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to drop a comment. Let me know what you think about this device. Give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching.